Good morning and welcome to another video. So today we've got this binder to look at. Now this binder was one of a lot of 8 that I purchased for just under 3,000 US dollars. Now 8 different sets, they were listed as partial master sets. Now if we take a look at the first page, you can kind of see what they mean. Now this is the base set one, and the person who originally owned these had tried to complete a set with the first edition, the Japanese card, and in the unlimited card, and in the case of base set, the Shadowless card for every card in the set. So if we look through here, we can see a decent selection of holos, selection of Shadowless cards. There's Mewtwo there. And then we get into the non-holos, and you can see with the electables, we've got the first edition, the Shadowless, the unlimited, and the Japanese card. So all the way through. Got plenty more. So you see lots of first edition base set here. So Shadowless. We can see they've got the yellow cheek Pikachu there for the Shadowless. Go all the way through to the back. And then we get towards the back, and we can see that on the last page they've also got the red cheek Shadowless Pikachu. So again, as usual, we're going to take out the holos, take out some of the other more interesting cards, have a look through them, see if any are worth grading, and just have a look at some nice beautiful cards. So without further ado, let's cut to the other shot and get right into it. Okay, so we've got the holos and a couple of other cards here to look through, so let's start going through them. So first we've got the unlimited Alakazam. Beautiful card there. If we look through this, the holo is very nice and clean. Nice little shine on there. If we go to the back, decent condition overall. There's a little bit of whitening around the bottom corner there. A couple of marks on the back which may wipe off with a damp finger, and a little bit more whitening there. But very nice condition, or at the very least near mint. All looks clean. Oh, then we've got the Japanese Blastoise, not a no rarity unfortunately. Again, another nice clean holo. There is, if you look, a bit of bowing maybe on the card, not too bad but not perfect. If we look at the back though, there is somewhere around the bottom corner here. There is, which is difficult to see, some marking. There is like a line on the card here, which is you can just about make out. So I think that's a light play, definitely not one for grading. Next we've got the Shadowless Chansey. There is some scratching on the holo on this one. If we can get it up, often very difficult to catch, but there is a bit of scratching there, and it is off center on the front. If you look at the front, that side is a lot thicker than that side. Go on to the back and can see a fair amount of whitening, so I'd say this is moderate play. Next, got the unlimited Chansey. This one has one scratch sort of here up on the holo, but aside from that, again, another nice clean front. If we go to the back again, right, so this is very off center from top to bottom. So if you can see the thickness of the top. If we move up, you can see the thickness of the bottom. So yeah, definitely not one for grading there. Possibly a near mint card though. I think you could get away with, I think you could validly call that near mint. There's not only a little bit of whitening around the corners there. Next, we've got Shadowless Clefairy. This one has a print line just running up here, which is probably the only problem with the front, with the hollow. Look at it, very nice condition. It's pretty well centered. There is a bit of silvering along the top here, but aside from that, pretty good. If you go to the back, so you can see there is some whitening along the top, and you can see just there is a sort of black smudge. Now, sometimes those smudges can quite easily be rubbed off with a damp finger, but sometimes they won't, so I'll try and get that off. But not much whitening, just small right around the corner there. That corner's pretty good, a bit more along the top, but near mint to light play there. So, Unlimited Clefairy. Again, just a bit of scratching around here in the bottom corner of the hollow, which is extremely common on these colourless hollows. For some reason, they seem to scratch up worse than the others. A bit off centre left to right as well, so if we bring that down a bit, just this side is a bit thicker than this side. And so if we go to the back, so you can see small amounts of white in there, but not much. I mean, probably not gradable, but well, I suppose you'd have a chance of getting a 7, maybe an 8 with this. But yeah, definitely a near mint card, I think. A beautiful binder card. So then we go to the Japanese Clefairy. There, beautiful clean hollow on this one. Nothing really wrong with it that I can see. If you look, it is a bit off centre left to right, which is an extremely common thing with these older Japanese cards. The manufacturing quality is generally much better than the Wizards of the Coast English ones, but they do have a tendency to be off centre. So if we go to the back, you can see this is lovely and clean. Very little wrong with this, if anything. It's pretty well centered as well, actually, unusually. So there is one mark just here. That's a very small mark on the back, but that definitely has potential for grading. So I'll put that one there. So next we've got the Shadowless Gyarados. See there. You can see as well with the Shadowless Gyarados, the sort of light colour of the Gyarados is a bit more green than yellow, which you'll be able to see on the Unlimited one next. It's a slightly different shade. Now, this is a very clean hollow, very little that I can see wrong with that. It's pretty well, actually it's very well centered, this one. Not much wrong with that at all. So if we go to the back, you can see some whitening along with some bit of edge wear and whitening along the top here, and a little bit of whitening there on the corner, but I'd say that's a near mint card, pretty much. As a binder card, I think it's entirely reasonable to call that near mint. The front especially is very, very clean, and there's just a small bit of, and on the back, I mean, maybe it's light play just to be safe looking at this edge wear, but near mint to light play. So the Unlimited Gyarados, you can see there it's a much more yellow shade rather than green on the Shadowless one. Nice clean hollow there. Really pops well. Nicely centered, but there is some silver in just down this side here. But PSA sometimes are not too bothered about that. So if we go to the back, you can see some small bits of whitening there. So in that corner there. A couple of small bits down this side and along the bottom. Not much though. You can just see them there. We're talking dots rather than significant bits of whitening. Definitely a near mint card. Maybe not quite you maybe have a shot at an 8 with that, but yeah, I'd say probably not quite gradable, but definitely near mint. Now we've got the Shadowless Hitmonchan. There's a small scratch on the hollow here, not a big one, which it's either a scratch or a print line. It could be either because it is quite straight. A nicely centered card. Tiny bit of wear on one of the edges here, but nothing significant. If we go to the back, you can see there is a decent amount of whitening along the top. A couple of bits around the corners here, but it's mostly the top, so it is a bit of wear as well. So I may probably call that light play, but I think you could probably get away with near mint. So next, the Unlimited Hitmonchan. This is a beautifully clean hollow. It's absolutely pristine. This, it really is very, very nice. If we can get this a bit to the camera, you can see there. Very clean indeed. If we come back a bit, so nice, clean, a little bit off center left to right, so this side is a bit smaller than this side, but it's not too bad though. Top to bottom is really good. And then if we go to the back, you can see there is a bit of whitening around the corners at the top here and also here at the bottom. So I'd probably say that's a near mint binder card, but that whitening is too much to grade. Then we go into the Shadowless Machamp. Now, it has the first edition stamp, but all Machamps from this set have the first edition stamp. So, you know, I never call it first edition. I just call it Shadowless with a Machamp. Now, this has got some quite significant print lines running up here. And, yeah, I don't know if you can... There, you can just see them on the hollow there. Underneath his hand. If you look down from his hand, you can just see them. So that definitely wouldn't be gradable, which is a shame because it's well centered. If we look at the back, there is a bit of whitening across the top of the bottom, so probably light play. You maybe get away with near mint. So the Unlimited Machamp, as you can see, it's got the first edition stamp. As explained earlier, this hollow is very clean. Nothing wrong with that at all. Nicely centered on the front. There is like a black, you can just see there a black speck at the top which might rub off. If we go on to the back, there is a bit of whitening down the side. So again, not quite gradable, I think, but not far off. If we go, we've got the Japanese Machamp here. Look at how that hollow pops. They really do shine on these Japanese cards. They're absolutely beautiful, nicely centered, which is an unusual thing for them. If we go to the back, this is very, very clean, very little, pretty much no whitening at all. Can't really see any marks, so I think that one is definitely going to be graded. And Shadowless Magneton. This one has a print line, just, let's see if we can get it. You can just see it there, but running up from where the magnet joins to the ball on the left, there's a print line just running up to the top. So it's, other than that, it's nice and clean, well centered. We look at the back, you can see a bit of whitening on the top. So again, near mint to light play binder card, not one for grading. Oh, then we've got the Unlimited Magneton. This hollow has pretty much nothing wrong with it. A tiny print line at the bottom here, but nothing major. It's nicely centered. You can see there. But if we go to the back, is some whitening on the top, and the edge is not quite crisp here, so which is a bit of whitening around the bottom corners, which is a shame because the front is very nice. Next one, we've got a Shadowless Mewtwo. Look at the shine on that. A small print line running up here, but nothing major. Card is well centered, but it does have a bit of, you can just sort of see there's a bit of curving. Nothing terrible, but it's a small issue. If we look at the back, a small amount of whitening on the top there. Definitely a near mint card. Not quite gradable, so we're looking for those PSA 9s and 10s. So, Unlimited Mewtwo. The holo isn't quite, it doesn't just pop as much as the Shadowless one, but it's absolutely pristine. Get that a bit closer. There we are. A beautiful front of the card, nicely centered. And if we go on to the back, this is pretty good. You can see a small amount of whitening just there. But if you look in general, a small amount there on corner, but not much here. Real sort of a bit of work there. This is a maybe for grading. We need to have a closer look at this one because it's not far off. But it's not a definite either. So then we go to the Japanese Mewtwo. Again, look how that holo shines. Really nice condition on the front side. That is, you can just see there is a mark on the edge of the card, so I'll have to see if that'll rub off. If we go to the back, you can just see a bit of whitening across the top, which is a shame, and a bit more down the side there. So not a gradable one. We've got Japanese Nidoking. Again, a gorgeous holo. It really does shine well. It's nice. It's slightly off center to sort of the bottom. The bottom is a bit smaller than the top, and this side is a bit smaller than this side. If we look at the back, there is a bit of wear along the top, so I'd say light play for that one. Next we've got an Unlimited Ninetales. So not the most interesting of cards. There is a bit of scratching on the holo on this side. It's pretty well centered on the top, but if you look at the back, the top is quite a bit thicker than the bottom, and there is some whitening there. So that's not one for grading. Unlimited Poliwrath now. I love the sort of bubble type holo pattern on this one. I know Poliwrath is not the most popular of Pokemon, but this card just works with the blue. The holo is very nice and clean. It's well centered. There is a bit of a white mark sort of at the top here, which doesn't show up. No, you can just see it. And we'll see if that'll rub on. That's come off there, so that's fine. If we look at the back, there is some bits of whitening, but nothing too much. So this, there's a tiny bit there. This is similar to the Mewtwo. This is a maybe. It's not far off, but I will need to take a closer look at that one. So Japanese Raichu. Again, look at the holo pattern there. Beautifully clean on the front, nicely centered. And if we look at the back, very little wrong here. Again, nicely centered. Can't really see any whitening at all, so that is one for grading. There's a tiny speck on top there, but that's one for grading. So last holos here, we've got the Shadowless Zapdos. Again, a flawless hollow. Nicely centered. There's sort of a tiny bit of wear on the edge down here. If we look on the back, there is some whitening along the bottom, and a bit more along the top. So I'd probably say that's a near mint binder card. So Unlimited Zapdos, again a gorgeously clean hollow. Properly centered. There is a couple of dots of silver in up the top here, but if we look at the back, there is a white speck up at the top there, you can just see, and there is a couple of bits of whitening down here as well. Oh, nothing major. Oh, there's a smudge there, so probably a near mint binder card. And the last of the hollows is a Japanese Zapdos. Look at that. Gorgeously clean hollow. There is some bits of silver in down this side. Let's see if we can get that there. Not quite. It's difficult to tell. And if we do look on the back, there is a fair amount of wear on whitening, so that's a light play card. So that's all the hollows. So we've got just a couple more to look at. We've got the couple of Shadowless Pikachus here. Yellow cheek one. But you can see a bit of whitening there. So that's a near mint card, but not quite gradable. We've got the more rarer red cheek one. So those of you who've seen the TV show will know that Pikachu's cheeks are red in the show. So you might be wondering, why is the red one the error one? Well, it's because the original art, it was meant to be when Pikachu was using an electric attack. So when it uses an attack, its cheeks power up and glow yellow. So that's why the yellow one is the correct one, because it is meant to be. The art is meant to be. It's in the process of using a Thunderbolt. So if we go off to the back of here, you can see there's a decent amount of whitening, so that's light play. Then we've got one of the lots of non-hollow first edition in there, which are always a good seller. We've got the Squirtle here, and if we just look at the back, you can see some small amounts of whitening, nothing major, but not quite going to get a PSA 9 there. So I'll have a look through the rest of these. There might be some more worth grading, but we've got these 3 Japanese holes which are definites for grading. The Clefairy, the Machamp, and the Raichu. And we've got a couple of the English unlimited ones as well, the Poliwrath and the Mewtwo. I'll have a close look at these. These might be worth doing. So anyway, thanks for watching. Leave me a comment, ask if you have any questions, or if you think I'm wrong about any of these cards and you have a different opinion. And I will see you in the next one. Goodbye.